Shape is what happens whenever a line, so a line starts at one point, goes to another point, and a connection between the two. So a line. Shape is what happens whenever a line either comes back and whoop, meets itself, or it goes and intersects other lines. Basically, a shape is what happens whenever a line gets closed off. Then it makes a shape. Now there's two different types of shapes. It's a geometric shape and an organic shape. Those are the two different types. They're very easy to remember, even though the names are a little complicated. See, geometric is if you can think of a shape that is a standard shape that you remember from elementary school, from your childhood, if you can recognize it as a shape, it's a geometric shape more than likely. For instance, a square, a rectangle, a triangle, a circle, all of those are geometric shapes. So what the word geometric means is it comes from the word geometry, and geometry is basically math. So all of the shapes that you see on the screen right now are geometric shapes, which means they are created using math. So you can use math to create a square, a rectangle, a triangle, a circle. If it's a shape that you recognize, it's a geometric shape. Now, organic shape is completely the opposite. An organic shape is something that is very free form, very fluid. It doesn't really match anything that you recognize as being a classic shape. A great example that I like to give my students is if you imagine yourself walking into a parking lot and there's a puddle there and there's some oil over top of it or something like that, and it makes all those really pretty colors, kind of like a rainbow. All of those real swirly shapes that it has in there are organic shapes. So those are the two types of shapes. Let me explain why shapes are important to artists. Well, as an artist, we try to break everything down around us in the world into basic shapes, and it helps us draw. It helps us create things. And the reason for that, if you were to look at this image right here of the apples, you would look at that and you say, okay, it's the three apples, whoop-de-doo. And what if I tell you, you need to draw that? Well, there's going to be quite a few of you. It's going to go, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to draw that? That's like three apples. I mean, look at the colors, look at the shapes, look at the shading on there. And what the heck is that stuff down there? The lace, and I'm not doing that. Don't forget it. I ain't going to do it. Well, all you have to think, yes, it's an apple, but it's just basic shapes. That's all it is. For instance, this right here. If you look at this, yes, it's an apple, but it's a circle. That's all it is. It's a circle. So we just draw a circle right there. And you come over here and look, there's another circle and another circle. Boom, you got all three of your apples done. Well, it doesn't really look like an apple. Okay, add a little triangle right there for the stem. And then guess what? Once you add in your basic shapes, all that's left is a coloring book page. Most of your work's already done and you didn't have to do anything. You just broke it down into basic shapes. And that's why shapes are important to artists. Artists use shapes to help them. You don't have to go straight into this artwork with the apples and expect it to look like an apple as soon as you start. You start with basic shapes and then you build those up and make it into whatever you want to draw. So now that we have looked at what basic shapes are, what the organic shapes and geometric shapes, and how artists can use them, I have a couple questions for you. So I want you to pause the video, take a good look at this picture, and I want you to answer this question. Are the shapes in this picture organic or geometric? Do you think you have your answer? Well, the correct answer is they are all organic. The reason why is because they would be very difficult to recreate. If you were to go in and try to tear these pieces of paper exactly the same and recreate them, it'd be very difficult. So they are organic shapes. Well, what about this artwork? Is this organic shapes or geometric shapes? Well, while the subject matter itself is organic, being a bird. In actuality, it is made up entirely of geometric shapes. Geometric shapes of rectangles, triangles, circles. Basically, it's all shapes that you recognize. So there's triangles, there's rectangles, and there's shapes with sharp angles and corners and circles. They're all geometric shapes. Okay, what about this artwork? Is this geometric or is it organic? The correct answer is it's both, because you have both geometric shapes right here with the rectangle, and the circle, and the squares, and then you also have the organic shapes with the little paisley thing right there, the jelly bean up in the corner, and the booger right over there. There's no other way to put it. Okay, one final image. Is this geometric or is it organic? The correct answer is both. And the reason why: the entire picture is made up of geometric shapes, except for one giant organic shape that is literally staring you right in the face. Iron Man himself is one giant organic shape.